Got my notes, check. Pepsi, check. Sunglasses, check. Hat, check. Thick skin, check. And sources, check. Let's go. Welcome to Golden Blued, everybody. This is where we cover all of college football. So if you're a college football fan, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I call my Patreons the shot callers, and I can't wait to live stream some games and watch it with my Patreons and the score prediction contest. That's going to be fun. I had an idea pop in my head yesterday, and to be honest with you, I don't know why I haven't done this before. This seems like a pretty good idea. So I kind of got sidetracked from my season predictions with all this conference realignment. I still want to do season predictions, but now I have a lot catching up to do. So what I want to do is I actually want to go head-to-head state versus state and determine which state I think will have the better overall record in my opinion. So my first matchup, I went the state of Alabama going up against the state of Mississippi. That means Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss are the teams involved in this season prediction video going head-to-head. So we'll start with the bottom of the barrel going by last year, and that's Auburn. They went 6-7, 6 in the SEC West. They averaged 28.3 points per game. That was 68th, and allowed 21.8 points per game, which was 27th. Bad offense, decent defense. I think that's going to be a repeat of what's going to happen this year because it starts with the quarterback. And right now I'm hearing that the transfer Zach Calzada is going to be the starting quarterback for Auburn. That's not good. That's not good at all. Overall, 196 for 351. That's 55.8%. Threw for 2,318 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. What about in 2021? 184 for 327. That's 56.3%. Threw for 2,185 yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's not a good quarterback. Your head coach is Brian Harsin. He was involved in a lot of scandal in the offseason. His name was cleared. He's good to go. But there's still some recovery that needs to be had from that offseason ridiculousness. So I think Auburn's defense is going to be good like it was last year, but your offense could be even worse than what it was last year. Zach Calzada is not a good quarterback, and your schedule didn't do you any favors either. Let's run through Auburn's schedule for 2022. First, they get FCS Mercer. That's an easy win for Auburn. Then they get San Jose State, who's a Group of 5 team. That's an easy win for Auburn. Then you get Penn State at home. A lot of people have this as a win for Auburn. I have this as a loss. I think Penn State's going to be much better this year. Auburn's offense is going to be downright pathetic. I think Penn State pulls off a squeaker of a win on the road to Auburn. After that, they get Missouri at home. That's a win. Then they get LSU at home. I'm giving a win to Auburn for that one. But then a losing streak starts for Auburn. They get a road trip to Georgia. That's a loss for Auburn. Then a road trip to Ole Miss. That's another loss for Auburn. You do get a breather in a bye week, but then after that, you get Arkansas at home. I still think it's a loss. At Mississippi State, I think that's a loss as well. And then Texas A&M at home. That's a loss. That's a 5-game losing streak. After that, you get Western Kentucky, who's a Group of 5 team. There's a win for you, Auburn. But then you finish off the season at Alabama. That is a big, fat loss for Auburn. So I have Auburn going 5-7 in 2022. Maybe an outside chance of going 6-6 or 7-5, getting to a bowl. But my season prediction for Auburn for 2022, 5-7, missing a bowl. Brian Harsin gonna be fired. On to the next team, Mississippi State. Last year they went 7-6, finished 4th in the SEC West. They averaged 29.1 points per game. That was 60th, which is weird because Mike Leach is known for being an offensive coach. And they allowed 25.9 points per game, which was 62nd. So they weren't good on offense and they weren't good on defense. I expect their offense to be much better this year and their defense to be about the same. Their starting quarterback is going to be Will Rogers, and he's actually on the Maxwell Award watch list. Overall, 744 for 1,029 attempts. That's 72.3%. Threw for 6,715 yards, 47 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. That's actually not bad stats. 2021 went 505 for 683. That's 73.9%. Threw for 4,739 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. So the problem for Mississippi State wasn't their quarterback. It was just putting points on the board. I think that gets solved this year. They have a pretty decent head coach in Mike Leach. So I expect their offense to be much better. But their schedule's still brutal. So what's their record going to look like? Well, they start off the season with the Group of 5 team Memphis at home. One of the best Group of 5 teams out there. But that's a win for Mississippi State. Then a road trip to a bad Arizona. That's a win. On the road to LSU. I think you drop that one. I think LSU is going to be much better. And it's on the road. That's a loss. Then you get Bowling Green, a bad Group of 5 team. That's a win. You get Texas A&M at home. I think Mississippi Mississippi State pulls the upset and beats Texas A&M. Then you get Arkansas at home. I think that's another win. But then back-to-back very tough road trips. On the road to Kentucky, I think that's a loss. Then a road trip to Alabama, that's a big loss. Then you get a breather with your bye week. Then you get Auburn at home. I have that as a win. Georgia at home, that's a loss. Then you get East Tennessee State at home, FCS, that's an easy win. And then at Ole Miss, I have that as a loss. So I do have Mississippi State being a better team, but because of their schedule, I have them going 7-5, getting to a bowl. Not a decent bowl, but a bowl. Next up is Ole Miss. Last year they finished the season 10-3, second in the SEC West. They averaged 33.7 points per game, which was 24th, and allowed 24.7 points per game, which was 51st. So the defense did get better, and the offense was pretty good. I think the offense will be about the same, and the defense might actually be a little bit better this year. They have incoming transfer Jackson Dart as the favorite to win the starting quarterback position. In 2021, he was 117 for 189. That's 61.9%. Threw for 1,353 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Slight dual threat quarterback. 22 carries for 43 yards, 2 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns. I think Lane Kiffin will most definitely know how to use this guy, and he's going to have a breakout year this year. Let's take a look at the schedule for Ole Miss this year. First, they start off this season with Troy. That's a group of 5 team. That's an easy win. Then you get FCS Central Arkansas at home. That's an easy win. At Georgia Tech should be an easy win. Then you get Tulsa at home, group of 5 team, easy win. Kentucky at home. Kentucky's going to be good, but it's at home. That's a win. On the road to a bad Vanderbilt. That's an easy win. Then a home game against Auburn. That's a win. So I have Ole Miss starting the season on a 7-game winning streak, and they'll probably be highly ranked at this point. After that, you get 2 tough road tests, though. At LSU, at Texas A&M. I think Ole Miss wins 1 and loses 1. After that, you get your bye week. Then you get Alabama at home, and I think Ole Miss has an excellent shot of beating Alabama. I'm calling the upset. I have Ole Miss beating Alabama at home. But then after that, a letdown loss at Arkansas. And then finally, your arch rival Mississippi State at home. That should be a win for Ole Miss. So I have Ole Miss going 10-2, probably finishing second in the SEC West again and getting to a New Year's Six bowl. Finally, there's Alabama. Last year they finished 13-2, SEC champs, got to the playoffs, got to the national championship, and lost to Georgia. They averaged 39.9 points per game, which was 6th, so they had a pretty good offense, and allowed 20.1 points per game, which was 18th, so a decent defense as well. Their starting quarterback, this is a big deal. Heisman Trophy winner from last year could win it in back-to-back years, and that's Bryce Young. Overall, he's 379 for 569, that's 66.6%, thrown for 5,028 yards, 58 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. 2021, he was 366 for 547, that's 66.9%, threw for 4,872 yards, 47 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. And yes, he's also on the Maxwell Award watch list. Of course, they have the greatest coach of all time, Nick Saban. That in and of itself is worth 10 wins. Let's take a look at Alabama's schedule for 2022. It's actually a pretty tough schedule, to be honest with you. First, they get a decent Utah State, who's one of the best group of 5 teams, but I think that's a win. Then a tough road test at Texas, but I think Alabama beats the brakes off of Texas. After that, you get group of 5 UL Monroe. That's a win. Then you get Vanderbilt. Might as well be a group of 5 team. That's an easy win. Then on the road to Arkansas, that's going to be a tough road test, but I have Alabama winning that. Then you get Texas A&M at home. I think they avenged the loss from last year. That's a win for Alabama. At Tennessee, this is going to be a very, very tough game, and I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm giving the win to Alabama. After that, you get Mississippi State at home. That's a win. Alabama gets a breather, and they're going to need it because right after the bye week, they get 2 tough road tests. First, on the road to LSU, which I think they actually get through that with the win, but then another road trip to Ole Miss, and I think this is where Alabama grabs a loss. I just don't like the placement of this game. It's back-to-back tough road trips, and Ole Miss is going to be pretty stinking good in 2022. But after that, they get FCS Austin Peay. That's an easy win. And then arch rival Auburn at home. That should actually be an easy win this year. So I have Alabama going 11-1, getting to the SEC Championship, winning the SEC Championship, getting to the playoffs, and most likely getting to the national championship. But what about overall state versus state? Well, if you combine the records, I have the state of Alabama going 16-8, and I have the state of Mississippi going 17-7. So that means, according to my predictions, I think overall the state of Mississippi is actually going to do better than the state of Alabama by 1 win and 1 loss. We'll see if that actually happens. Maybe I'm way off. I don't know. But y'all let me know in the comments section. Number 1, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. And if you do disagree with me, let me know what I did wrong. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.